now I'm at Yuan Square, and this is the very starting point of the sending off ceremony of the taikonauts. So outside right now, the temperature is around 6 degrees Celsius, so it's pretty freezing. But let me tell you, the atmosphere around here is definitely electric. And as you can see now, there are a lot of people lining along my both sides. So they consist of working staff from different working systems, a lot of space fans and students, as well as media crews, both from China and overseas. So definitely the world is watching this. And if you look closer, you will notice they are waving flags and waving flowers. Earlier, they're also cheering for the Shenzhou 21 crew. So speaking of the crew this time, there were a lot to expect for this crew. We know Zhang Lu is the commander, and he is also the veteran taikonaut who has participated in the Shenzhou 15 mission. And this time he's joined by two newcomers, Wu Fei and Zhang Hongzhang. But I would like to share with you some additional information about them. First, this time they consist of 3 generations. We know Zhang Lu was born in the 1970s, and Zhang Hongzhang was born in the 1980s, and Wu Fei was born in the 1990s. And he is now the youngest taikonaut that's ever assigned to a crewed mission. But this is not a coincidence. This totally demonstrates China's continuous and multi-generational legacy of China's manned space missions. And second, let's take a look at their roles. So Zhang Lu is the space pilot, Wu Fei is the space engineer, and Zhang Hongzhang is the payload specialist. So this time it's the second time we see a payload specialist at this crew. Last time was the Gui Haichao in the Shenzhou 16 mission. But they represent the current 3 different types of taikonauts that are currently in service. And this type of diversity is very essential, especially now the application and development stage of the China's Tiangong space station. And speaking of this, I also would like to share with you that this time the crew will conduct nearly 30 scientific projects. The biggest highlight is, of course, they are bringing 4 mice with them up to space. And this marks China's first ever scientific experiment involving rodent mammals in space. And definitely the world is watching this. But last but not least, I'd also invite you to focus one more details. So later when the crew comes out, we can pay attention to the vehicle that will carry them to the launch pad, because this time it is totally updated. And we can also keep an eye on the license plate. It is not made up of numbers, but some special, very beautiful message, as well as a national blessing for this whole mission. So I will keep it as a secret for now. Let's wait and see. And we wish the Shenzhou 21 crew a safe and successful journey. Back to you, Hona.
Thank you so much, Eileen, for updates at the launch center. We can't wait to unveil that secret. We appreciate your reporting there. Well, the Shenzhou 21 crew will have a much faster ride to the space station this time compared to their predecessors, thanks to the advancing technology. Sun Ye has more.
The Shenzhou 21 cruise trip to the China space station will be much quicker than all previous Shenzhou cruise, quicker by hours.
The 3.5-hour rapid rendezvous and docking means the crewed spacecraft can complete its connection with the space station just 3.5 hours after entering orbit. Compared to Shenzhou 20, this is 3 hours shorter. This technology significantly reduces rendezvous and docking time and improves the taikonauts' comfort during the journey. It also reduces energy constraints on the launch window, making the mission more adaptable and enhances our ability to handle major emergencies.
It means an earlier get-together for the Shenzhou 21 and Shenzhou 20 crews. The living supplies, food, equipment, and scientific experiment payloads traveling with the spaceship will also arrive at the space station much faster and fresher.
And as Shenzhou 21 spaceship goes to China's space station, the Shenzhou 22 spaceship stands ready for emergency needs. Sun Ye, CGTN, Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center.
All right, for more insights, we go to our studio guest, Professor Yang Jiuquan. Always good to have you with us, Professor Yang. So you've covered multiple launches, several Shenzhou missions with us over the past year. So what is your biggest anticipation for this mission?
Well, as you mentioned before, today we are in the application and development phase of our Tiangong Space Station program. So today we are in the stage to get the return from our scientific research. Of course, today there is no exception that the Shenzhou 21 mission will conducting multiple experiments, actually speaking 27 experiments in outer space. During this experiment, of course, as your reporter have already mentioned, the 4 mice will be a very exciting and very interesting experiment. But I believe this time, this experiment, the major goal will to master the technologies. You know, I believe that this will not the only time we bring mammals to our Tiangong Space Station. So today, we to test the technology to have the right container, the right feeding system, right system to clean their the rubbish and also ventilation and so on. So if we can bring our samples, the 4 mice, to our station with this 21 spaceship and bring them back with the Shenzhou 20 spaceship, although they only stay there for about 1 week, but will cover all the necessary technologies for bringing these high-level animals to our Tiangong Space Station. I believe in the future we can have them more time duration.
I was wondering, Professor Yan, we already brought zebrafish to the space, and why mice this time?
You know that we should do this one by one and step by step. You know that in the earliest missions we have some worms to be on board our Shenzhou spaceship, and then, as you mentioned, zebrafish. Today we have the mammal because you know that although mice are very small, but they have 85% DNA similar to human being. So it is very necessary for us to conduct this kind of research.
So, as a reporter mentioned, why is this time around, you know, the travel time is much faster than previous missions? What is the new technologies?
Actually speaking, we have a world record with the Tianzhou 5 mission, only 2 hours from the launch to docking with our Tiangong Space Station. But you know that the shorter it is, the more comfortable our astronaut is. You can imagine if you take 6.5 hours from your home to your office, how inconvenient you are.
Exactly.
So, it is shorter than before, so not only more comfortable for our astronaut, but also very useful, very meaningful for our experiments. For instance, the mice, and in the future maybe other animals. If it can be shorter, it is possible and easier for us to bring more multiple kinds of animals to our station to conduct scientific research. So that is the advantage to have a shorter time, not only to make it more convenient for our passengers, but also, you know, that this needs a very strict requirement, especially you have a more strict launch window, and also it needs more requirement to our GNC or the navigation guidance and control system to be more accurate.
Exactly, more precision is needed here to ensure the travel time is much shorter than previous missions. So compare with mission Tiangong 20 mission, Shenzhou 20 mission, what is the biggest breakthrough in terms of technology this time?
Well, you know that the Shenzhou 21 spaceship belongs to the same batch comparing with the Shenzhou 20. All these ships were made in batches. Actually speaking, 5 Shenzhou spaceships were made in the same batch. So generally speaking, their technical specifications are similar. But every time we also have some small improvement. For instance, this time the uploading and downloading capability of our Shenzhou 21 is optimized. So it can bring more payload to the station and also bring more back to the Earth. So after half a year, maybe also in this studio, we can see more scientific research results from this Shenzhou 21 crew. Moreover, you see that the procedure or the sequence for the launch also is simplified and optimized. You know, today we before today's launch, we used to have a 3-level commander and system, but today we only use 2-layer. So it's simplified, and we can spend less time than before, and it's more economical than before.
And this time there will be a handover ceremony there at the space. 6 people, 6 astronauts will be there at the same time. So what would you say the biggest challenge when they're for this mission, when they're having this handover in Tiangong at the same time?
I believe that every time we have a handover in orbit, so it raises a very high requirement to the so-called generative life support and environmental control system. You know that the ordinary or the daily configuration is only 3 persons, so we can use only one system in the Tiangong in the Tianhe module. But for 6 people, we also need the same system in the Wentian module. So it can support 6 people stay in orbit for a short term. But you know that besides the life support system, also the daily handover will be more critical because we have very complex experiments, and also the management and operation of the space station is also very complex. We need a face-to-face handover to ensure everything is okay, and this is necessary and become a routinary operation comparing with other countries.
And I want to talk about the takonauts here. And now we have Zhang Lu, Wu Fei, and Zhang Hongzhang with Zhang Lu at the commander-in-chief. And I want to know the youngest. We also have the youngest takonauts in history. So can you give a little bit of background on this gentleman?
Actually speaking, what proud me most is Wu Fei. Because you know that just during the live coverage of CGTN on Shenzhou 20 mission, I expressed that I'm very proud that Wang Jie is the first native of Inner Mongolia to become a taikonaut. But this time we have the second one. And Wu Fei, Wang Jie, 2 native of Inner Mongolia will meet in orbit. So this is what proud me most.
All right. So, China has those medium and long-term goals for space science development. And as you mentioned, we're bringing mammals and mice to space this time. In terms of bioscience technology, what is the biggest through this time for the space, for the Tiangong 21 mission?
As I mentioned, I believe that this time we bring 4 mice into orbit is to test the corresponding technologies to make them healthy and in good status to conducting multiple research in orbit. You know that the microgravity environment and the radiation in orbit is what we should care about in this kind of scientific research. But what concerns most is the procedure during the liftoff and during the landing. In these 2 procedures, we will have the very intensive vibration, also the G forces. Not only the taikonauts will experience these very inconvenient
指挥长同志，我们奉命执行神舟21号载人飞行任务，准备完毕，请您指示航天员上路。
航天员武飞，
航天员张鸿章，出发。是。
precision
Yeah.
in each area or even small parts of the designing process. So let's talk about Zhang Lu, who is definitely very confident, as we can see from the footage there. He's the second time he went to space, and he's the commander. And now he's leading two little brothers, as we can use that. So before they go to space, what kind of training will they have?
Well, when we talk about Zhang Lu, it is very interesting. You know that during his when he was a student in high school, his dream is to become a singer. But you know that
he can still sing in space.
Yes, of course. And you know that when he graduated, he chose to go to the college for Air Force pilot. And finally, he became a fighter pilot. Mm-hmm. So even being a fighter pilot, he's mm-hmm. very outstanding. So that is the reason why he was chosen as a backup astronaut several years before. You know that he has conducted the Shenzhou 15 mission very perfectly. So I believe that this time it is the right choice for me to appoint him as the commander of this Shenzhou 21 mission.
Thank Thank you so much, Professor. We'll be getting back to you. Well, new life science experiments will be conducted during the Shenzhou 21 mission, including having mammals as experimental animals for the first time on China's space station. So the subjects are mice and a study on amino acids. And here are some scientists explaining what these experiments are and how they could answer major questions. Take a listen.
This project marks the first time we've sent mice as experimental animals to China's space station to conduct short-term rearing experiments for 5 to 7 days. There are 4 mice, 2 mice in each small unit, 1 female and 1 male. The mice will travel to the space station aboard the Shenzhou 21 spaceship. We've also set up a ground-based system that will also conduct a 5 to 7 day, 1-to-1 parallel experiment. In these 5 to 7 days, the first thing we need to observe is how the mice live, move, and rest in orbit under microgravity conditions. All of these are questions. What we'll primarily examine is a comparison of in-orbit behavior and behavior on the ground. What are the mice's movement trajectories like? What changes occur in their daily routines and circadian rhythms? What are their feeding and drinking patterns? We'll also use AI for observation. Mice share approximately 95% genetic similarity with humans, making them an excellent model organism. Our ultimate goal is to understand how the space environment brings changes during long-term human spaceflight activities. We use mice as a model organism to understand humans, ultimately to serve humanity.
The space mouse rearing device is a completely airtight system. The rearing device that was sent up to the space station with Tiangong 9 provides gas purification, oxygen supply, and on-orbit monitoring for the mice. The mouse experimental unit that goes with Shenzhou 21 provides food and water for the mice, as well as lighting, imaging, and waste collection. Speaking of the mice waste collection, this is actually a fairly unique requirement we have under microgravity. In the space microgravity environment, droppings can float around, so we designed a small automated waste collection system, essentially a directional airflow to move the waste to a designated module. The more advanced the organism, the higher its living requirements usually are, and the more factors we need to consider.
Our project primarily focuses on researching the issue of homochirality in the origin of life molecules. Life on Earth has undergone billions of years of evolution, and ultimately, without exception, all life has chosen left-handed amino acids as the material foundation for protein construction. The question we want to explore is whether this choice is related to Earth's gravitational conditions. In the space station environment, the microgravity conditions are genuine microgravity. If we want to study these interactions at the molecular level, the best approach is still to have a real microgravity environment.
And now we are seeing live pictures of the 3 takonauts going to be on board Shenzhou 21 mission. That's Zhang Lu, Wu Fei, and Zhang Hongzhang, who's led by motorcade. Zhang Lu is the commander, who is from the second batch of takonauts.
Exactly.
And Wu Fei and Zhang Hongzhang coming from the 3rd batch of takonauts. And they will take over duties at the Tiangong space station from the crew of previous Shenzhou 20 mission, they already spent about 6-month time in space. And this is the 6th manned mission since Tiangong has reached the research and development stage. The team will undertake a range of tasks, including cargo handling, installing space debris protection devices, and science education, as well as scientific experiments and EVA activities. Yes. All right, we'll go back to Professor Yang. It looks like, 3 of them are in really good condition. They were singing on the car. And let's talk about the selection of the takonauts. We are seeing more international collaboration when it comes to selecting the takonauts. We are hear from the authorities that there will be Pakistani astronauts in the near future, right?
Exactly. You know that according to the white paper of China's space activities, we want to be a leading country in space field, and one important benchmark becoming a leading country in space field is the international cooperation. So the Tiangong Space Station is not only the national space laboratory of China in outer space, but also it is a very brilliant business card of China in foreign relations. So it is a most ideal platform for we to conduct international cooperation. I can still remember that several years before, the China Manned Space Agency have a joint calling of joint experiments together with the UNOSA, or the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. They together call for joint experiments from other countries. So many proposals were delivered, and 17 of these experiments were chosen. And many of them, the scientists and engineers from other countries produced these instruments, and it will be brought back to the station by the Tianzhou cargo spacecraft, and then conducting the experiments by our Chinese taikonauts. But today, you know that I can also emphasize that several months before, Mr. Lin Xiqiang, the deputy chief of the China Manned Space Agency, signed an agreement with the Pakistan side, and they will have joint training selection of the Pakistani taikonauts, and then they will be trained in the space city of China, maybe for 2 years, and then one of them will be selected from these two Pakistans to go to our Tiangong Space Station for short term.
And Professor, you know, the Shenzhou 21 mission is again expected to break new grounds. The 3 in their spacewalks will be wearing new amped up spacesuits, so they will be tending to a large number of scientific and technological assignments, as we have mentioned, including the studies on lithium battery. And also the Shenzhou 21 crew will carry out in-orbit scientific experiments involving mice during their stay on the space station. And I want to talk a little bit about mice, which everybody is interested in.
Very interesting.
4 mice, 2 males and 2 females, will be transported to China Space Station on board Shenzhou 21 spaceship and raised in orbit. So, were the mice already in the spaceship already?
Already, I believe that the mice have been, actually speaking, will be mounted in the device, a device mounted in the orbital module. You know that we have 3 modules of our Shenzhou spaceship. From top to the down is the orbital module, the re-entry capsule, and the propulsion module. So usually most of the cargoes we brought together with the astronauts will be mounted in the orbital module. I believe that's the reason we choose mice, because it is
small.
Yes, exactly.
It's
very small, even with 4 mice, but the container will be very small and very convenient for us to handle. So this time we will test the technologies to transport these high-level mammals to outer space and safely get them back. So this is the right technology. I should say also to become a leading country in space field for manned space activities. This experiment sure they are very healthy, and also to be the right condition to conduct all kinds of research. And also we need to see their reactions in outer space. So all these are very challenging for us because we don't have the experience before. And you know that although we've already have the worms and also the zebrafish before, but this time, you know, the mammal is the high-level animal similar to human being. So I believe this is a very challenging thing for us. And also, this is not a challenge, as I mentioned, not only for the Shenzhou 21 crew, but also for the Shenzhou 20 crew. When they bring these formats back to the Earth, also they have to ensure they are in good status. And when they get back to the Earth, the returning procedure, also the retrieving or the recovery system must ensure that these mice are in good status.
So the 3 takonauts are respectively a space pilot, a flight engineer, and a payload specialist. Why is the combination?
Well, you know that in the early stages, the major purpose of our space missions are to master the right technologies. There were so many uncertainties during these missions, so it is very risky. Why we choose only the pilots? Because they were almost all were selected from the Air Force pilots, so they are in good. Already
yeah, they're waving to the crowd.
Yeah.
征途皆璀璨，
归途俱平坦。
航天薪火船，中国空间站，我们来了。
Aerospace and the China Space Station, we are coming. We look forward to your return in triumph.
And they have reached the doorway of the launch pad. They will take the elevator to the 9th floor and prepare to enter the spacecraft.
Yeah. You may notice that the ground staff wearing face masks. Also, you need to avoid any bacteria or virus to influence their health condition.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So the elevator will take the crew to the 9th floor. There, the crew will make some final preparations.
Yes. Although we've already discussed about the EVA spacesuit, but the IVA spacesuit is also very complex. So we must ensure that it can form an airtight sealing during the mission to give a secondary protection if the has a malfunction of their capsule.
So the IVA suit, as you mentioned, are the 3 new ones or used by others before?
They are new ones. Each time for also the size of the
it's custom made.
Is compatible with a certain person. They have the mark of their names.
I believe so.
On the suit, so they will be only used once. But it's much simpler than the EVA spacesuits, and the EVA suits were varying by different persons.
So the 9-story platform is more than 4 meters above the ground, and the speed of the elevator is relatively slow to help the takonauts stay calm.
Yes. So at this platform, they will also conduct multiple examinations and checkings to ensure their own status and their IVA spacesuit are in good condition.
So, are the ASC going to remove the boots of the takonauts?
Exactly. So you know that the boot is to protect their spacesuit when they walk on the ground. But when they go enter the capsule, they no longer need the boot.
When they already enter the cabin,
they
don't.
The ground staff will help them to take off their boots.
Exactly. And some adjustments will also be made to make it easier for the takonauts to enter.
Yeah. So that's we emphasize that it's a task of multiple systems. Very smooth coordination is necessary for this procedure.
It's such a complicated system.
Exactly. But even although it is very complex, but we are continuous to do our efforts to simplify this procedure, in the constraints to ensure the safety and reliability. We will greatly reduce the multiple procedures to make it more cheaper and more economical to in the future to have affordable space activities.
So, what kind of final preparations will they have before they go to this cabin? Are they allowed to drink some coffee?
No.
Or
actually speaking, they have already wear some diapers inside their spacesuit.
So they're probably not allowed to go to toilet
they don't
for a
have
couple of
the chance.
hours.
Yeah.
And watching live pictures of the Jiuquan Launch Center.
I've been there in 2019 to see this very beautiful blue building. So this launch service, the service tower is really beautiful.
ninth floor building.
Yeah.
Is it?
You can see that on the right of the screen is a payload fairing. Inside this payload fairing is our Shenzhou 21 spaceship. This is a hatch just close to the orbital module. On the side, there is a hatch. We can help the astronauts to go inside and then go down to their seats.
I can't imagine the nervousness and excitement coming from the 3 takonauts and their families as well.
Honestly speaking, they are well trained, and also that you may heard from your reporters from CMG. Just several days before, they have an integrated drill of the whole system. The 3 astronauts also joined this training. So I believe that they are full of confidence and not so nervous.
Looking very calm.
Yeah.
They're receiving the final orders.
We can hear the voice outside the screen. Is still the configuration or the confirmation of the status of different ground stations, and also that the commander in our Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center is in charge of the whole launch procedure. So they have different kinds of drills, one by one, and also even before the launch, we have necessary simulations.
The magnificent footage of the 9-story building.
We can see the weather conditions is good for the launch itself, although
it's
the temperature
not
is
that cold.
Yeah, a little bit cold, but still is within the range for our launch.
The visibility is pretty great.
Exactly. So we can see the very beautiful trail of our launch vehicle. We even have colder weathers during the Shenzhou 1 launch. I believe that is before the end.
It's really cold.
It's just before the end of the 1999. I can still remember that it's a very cold condition.
So that comes to the question: how do we choose the window each time?
The most critical requirement or the most important constraints is the orbital plane. You know that our Tiangong space station orbiting the Earth in a certain orbital plane. So we don't have other choices. We can only launch our Shenzhou spacecraft as the chasing vehicle when the launch pad is rotating together with the Earth when passing through the orbital plane of our Tiangong space station. So the accuracy of the launch time is much better than 1 second. That is called zero window launch. So that brings a very high requirement to our launch vehicle and to the GNC or guidance, navigation, and control system. But today we've already mastered this technology and it's already very practical.
Are we seeing the
this is the orbital module. What we
module.
see, you can see all kinds of cargoes mounted on the side walls of this. This is the re-entry capsule. You can see the basins or the seats for the astronauts.
So they will be entering the cabin one by one.
Exactly. So I believe that Mr. Zhang Hongzhang will enter the hatch first. Zhang
Hongzhang will be entering first.
Exactly. Because you know that always the commander needs to sit in the middle. So he will be the last one to enter the re-entry capsule.
And also in a short while, the escort will be taking off the boots of the takonauts because they can't wear them entering the cabin, right? Some adjustments will also be made to make it easier for the takonauts to enter.
Yeah. So
at
this moment, they still
now.
have ground staff inside the orbital module to help our takonauts to go more smoothly from the orbital module, go down to the re-entry capsule and to their seat.
And now the escort is taking off their boots. So the boots will be left on the ground in Jiuquan?
Yes, of course. Maybe brought back to the astronaut center in Beijing. But you know that these booths is very good objects for a museum.
Exactly. 3 takonauts look very calm and confident. And the,
目的性检查太原，明白；渭南，明白；青岛，明白；酒泉，明白；天山，明白；双城，明白；武汉， 明白。
What we heard is the voice of the commander ask each of the ground tracking station to confirm they've already get the right message. So this is a coordination of all kinds of systems all over our country. Especially, that during the downrange of the trajectory of our launch vehicle, there are multiple ground stations which can receiving the signals emitted from the launch vehicle, which contains the critical parameters of the launch vehicle and the Shenzhou spaceship as well. So every time we can see very clear video images, video streams from our launch vehicle, and also the video from our Shenzhou spaceship, especially the video inside our re-entry capsule to see the status of our taikonaut.
So what are they putting in the cabin? What they're transferring there?
Maybe the
There's
mouse?
something.
各号注意，固定信息检查正常结束，开源。明白。渭南。明白。青岛。
Well, on the top right of the screen is a camera mounted in the orbital module. You can see all kinds of cargoes, and maybe the 4 mice are one of it.
Probably the 4 mice.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, it will be mounted in this orbital module, the container.
The container.
Yeah.
各号注意，计算机理论弹道检查，5分钟准备，联班好。
It looks like a pretty cozy and
明白。
a cozy place to stay.
明白。青岛。
And you know that the role of the orbital module have already been changed in today's phase. You know that during the early missions, it is a living room of our astronauts. But you know that today we conduct a fast rendezvous and routing. The astronauts only stayed in the Shenzhou spaceship for several hours, so it became a cargo bay for our Tiangong missions. So the role of the orbital module changed.
What kind of special food will they bring to space this time? As we have seen dumplings and kung pao chicken.
What you mentioned can be brought by the Tianzhou spaceship to our Tiangong space station. But in the Shenzhou space, of course, it will bring some food. Usually, the most favorite one is fresh fruit.
Fresh fruit,
exactly,
definitely.
Because that's the most valuable one for those who stay in outer space for several months.
Exactly. And they're waiting to enter the cabin, one by one.
Yes, as we mentioned, Mr. Zhang Hongzhang probably will be the first one to enter the cabin, and he will sit in the seat to the.
5 minutes countdown.
Yes, but that's still a simulation.
A simulation.
Yeah. It mentioned the T-minus 5 minutes and counting. Of course, this moment is not 5 minutes, T-minus 5 minutes. So this is a simulation. It's necessary for the whole system to be ensure that everyone is okay, everyone is ready.
Exactly. The technical staff looks pretty confident.
Yeah. But
and
the drill is necessary before the launch. And we use the computers today to simulate everything. We can see T-minus 50 seconds. So that's the simulation.
40秒。
The simulation. That's the simulation there.
Exactly. And this simulation can test very comprehensively of multiple systems, so to ensure that especially the electronics is okay for the launch. It's go for launch.
You know, visibility is definitely great.
Yeah.
You can see clearly the magnificent view of the 9th floor tower.
You know, as I mentioned, I went to Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in 2019. It is the first time for me to see the Milky Way with my naked eye.
So
you can see how clear it is.
Exactly.
44秒，动拐5毫秒 ，T0 2:10 2:3分44秒，动拐5毫秒。
And the 3 taconauts are still waiting to enter the cabin one by one.
According to the introduction of the ground staff of our Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, they are continuously to optimize their works and their tasks. You know that from the vehicle assembly building with a track to our launch complex, there are also multiple critical systems. So every time we need to conduct a very comprehensive examination to ensure these systems are in good status. But today, with constraints to ensure the reliability, we can also shorten this examination and make it more faster. This is very meaningful, especially if someday we're conducting a rescue mission for our astronaut in outer space. So this kind of optimization is very necessary.
So the contingency plan is also there.
So at this right moment, just 1.5 kilometers away from the launch pad, the Long March 2F Y-22 launch vehicle and the Shenzhou 22 spaceship is standing in the VAB.
We're seeing the wind speed is around 2.2 meters per second.
Not very fast.
Not very fast. Visibility is definitely great.
Although the temperature is a little bit low, I can see your colleagues very sick cold.
Exactly. But she said it's okay. It's not that cold.
It's still okay in this season. I can still remember that during the Shenzhou 6 mission, that in 2005, it's snowing during the launch.
There's no wind.
Yeah.
Compared with the temperature, the wind speed is also important.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the wind speed in very high latitude will influence the control procedure. It's very critical. It may even cause damage of the launch vehicle itself.
Thank you so much, Professor Yang, always for sharing with us your insights. We'll definitely be getting back to you in our later special program. So the 3 takonauts are making their final preparations for the liftoff. A send-off ceremony was held earlier for the crew. China is set to launch the Shenzhou 21 manned spacecraft at 15:44 GMT from the Jiuquan Launch Center, and this marks the 37th flight for China's manned space program and the 6th crewed mission since the space station reached the research and development stage. So stay tuned to CGTN special coverage on the launch of the mission at 15:30 GMT. I'm Hong Nan, Beijing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.
号注意，我是东风，第2次综合检查，5分钟准备。景山。
景山明白。
华山。
华山明白。
08号。
明白。
太原。
明白。
渭南。
明白。
青岛。
明白。
酒泉。
明白。
千山。
明白。
双城。
明白。
5号。
明白。
东风，我是景山。
我是东风，景山请讲。
景山江阴天路及长江6号第2次综合检查，5分钟准备完毕。
东风明白。
东风，我是华山。
我是东风，华山请讲。
华山第2次综合检查，5分钟准备完毕。
东风明白。各号注意，书记5分钟准备情况。08号。
5分钟准备完毕。
太原。
5分钟准备完毕。
渭南。
5分钟准备完毕。
青岛。
5分钟准备完毕。
酒泉。
5分钟准备完毕。
青山。
5分钟准备完毕。
双城。
5分钟准备完毕。
5号。
5分钟准备完毕。
各号注意，我是东风，第2次综合检查，1分钟准备。50秒。40秒。30秒。20秒。10、9、8、7、6、5、4、3、2、1，起飞。T0 2两时，5动分，44秒 345毫秒 ，T0 2两时5动分44秒345毫秒。各号注意，我是东风。各号停，收集第二次综合检查情况。景山。
景山明白。
华山。
华山第二次综合检查正常。
08号。
第二次综合检查正常。
太原。
第二次综合检查正常。
渭南。
第二次综合检查正常。
青岛。
第二次综合检查正常。
酒泉。
第二次综合检查正常。
青山。
第二次综合检查正常。
双城。
第二次综合检查正常。
5号。
第二次综合检查正常。
东风，我是景山。
我是东风，景山，请讲。
景山、江阴、天路及长江6号第二次综合检查正常。
东风明白。
北京景山报告。
我是北京景山，请讲。
景山报告测量船当前海况及1小时准备情况。长江6号海况4级，浪高2.5米，风力5级，能见度15公里。景山天路长江6号1小时准备完毕。景山报告完毕。
北京明白。我是北京华山，请讲。北京明白。我是北京江阴，请讲。北京明白。我是北京长城，请讲。北京明白。我是北京天宫，请讲。北京明白。我是北京天舟，请讲。北京明白。我是北京曙光，请讲。北京明白。我是北京银河，请讲。北京明白。
各号注意，收集1小时准备情况。0号
1小时准备完毕。
太原 1小时准备完毕。
渭南
1小时准备完毕。青岛
1小时准备完毕。
酒泉
1小时准备完毕。
青山
1小时准备完毕。
双城
1小时准备完毕。
5号
1小时准备完毕。
天仓
1小时准备完毕。
北京东风报告。
我是北京东风，请讲。
东风1小时准备完毕。报告完毕。
北京明白。东风，我是北京。
东风到。
全区各号1小时准备完毕，30分钟准备及后续口令由你下达。
东风明白。 0号，我是东风。
0号到。
全区各号1小时准备完毕，30分钟准备及后续口令由你下达。
明白。07号讲。明白。神舟，我是0号，现在起，神舟21号由0号指挥。
各号注意，我是0号，30分钟准备。长征，神舟21号，先锋07号、08号、09号。
各号注意，我是东风，30分钟准备。景山，
景山明白。
华山，
华山明白。
太原，
明白。
渭南，
明白。
青岛，
明白。
酒泉，
明白。
千山，
明白。
双城，
明白。
5号，
明白。
天仓，
明白。
各号注意，我是0号，15分钟准备，长征，神舟21号。先锋07号、08号、09号。
各号注意，我是东风，15分钟准备，调度直通波，景山。
景山明白。
华山。
华山明白。
太原。
明白。
渭南。
明白。
青岛。
明白。
酒泉。
明白。
青山。
明白。
双城。
明白。
5号。
明白。
天仓。
明白。
Is scheduled to launch from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China. The 3 takonauts are securely in the capsule and are conducting their final pre-launch checks. A send-off ceremony was held earlier for the crew. Leading the mission is Commander Zhang Lu, a veteran of the Shenzhou 15 mission. He's joined by 2 first-time flyers, Wu Fei and Zhang Hongzhang. At 32 years old, Wu Fei is now the youngest Chinese takonaut ever to go to space.
指挥长同志，我们奉命执行神舟21号载人飞行任务，准备完毕，请您指示航天员走路。
航天员武飞，
航天员张鸿章，出发。是。
During their 6-month mission on board the Tiangong space station, the Shenzhou 21 crew will take over operations from the outgoing Shenzhou 20 team. This launch marked the 37th flight for China's manned space program and the 6th crewed mission since the space station reached the research and development stage. The crew's responsibility will include cargo management, installing space debris protection, and conducting scientific experiments and extravehicular activities. All right, for the very latest, we go live to reporters on the ground, Sun Ye at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center and Zheng Yibing at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center. They're standing by for live reports. Thank you so much for joining us. So I would like to begin with you, Sun Ye at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. It is getting close to liftoff. What is happening now?
Hey there, Hona. Hello again from 1.5 kilometers away from the launch tower. You can see it right now. The rocket is fully revealed. That means you know the launch hour is very, very close. Now, the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center has been reporting throughout the last few hours and minutes that everything is happening according to plan and everything is going on smoothly. Right now, where I'm standing, I'm actually surrounded by cameras, and we can hear the spectators starting to cheer as the launch moment gets near. Now, this is the kind of thing that we have seen a few times now. As China Space Station has its crewed missions twice every year. I know you often asked, how different is it every time? And let me tell you, a lot of the difference in these crewed missions cannot be seen by our naked eyes. For example, the Satellite Launch Center is designing and using a new launch site system that's making the digital tracking faster, monitoring more precisely, and generally smoothing and making the whole process smarter. And then for the rocket, the Long March March 2F rocket. The launch process has now been shortened from 45 days to 30 days. That's shortening so much. And as I think you have heard right now, that the spaceship, this time the ride for the Shenzhou 21 crew will be so much faster than before. The process for it to connect with the China space station would be the shortest ever. So these are the improvements that they are making all the time, making the whole system, making the whole mission, actually the industry, better, stronger, faster each time. And I am sure the Shenzhou 21 mission will be is aiming for getting better, stronger, faster.
Thank you so much, Sun-Ye, for your updates from Jiuquan. The launch center would definitely keep you updated. And now we go to Yibing at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center. Yibing, good to see you. Tell us what is the latest from the control center.
Good to see you, Hona. I would say Beijing copy here from the Beijing Aerospace Control Center. We're watching and hear the live signal of the launch sequence for the Shenzhou 21 launch mission. You actually hear various commands from all working systems from all across China for the launch mission. But one command stands out and represents the Beijing Aerospace Control Center. That's a Beijing copy. So right before and after the launch ignition of the Long March 2F carrier rocket for the Space Shenzhou 21 mission, you would constantly hear Beijing copy again and again. They're checking the status of the whole system and also the Shenzhou 21 spacecraft and the crew members. Right behind me on the big screen, you can see actually the 3 crew members. They're making the final preparation for this launch mission. The commander, Zhang Lu, is reading the flight menu for the details and checking again before the ignition. In less than 15 minutes, the Shenzhou 21 mission will begin and the ignition will be happen. And also, right here at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center, we see a lot of people have been working for a long time. They will be working all night, because this is the first time ever in the history of China manned space missions. For example, in a previous mission from Shenzhou 12 to Shenzhou 20, all Shenzhou spacecraft will have the mode of the rendezvous and docking for 6.5 hours. But this time, the time has been shortened to 3.5 hours. That is a big change. So this time, the mission would be totally different. We'll wait and see the change, the ignition of the Shenzhou 21 mission and the spacecraft. So we give the best wishes to the 3 crew members. Back to you. Hold on.
We hear that Yibing, Beijing is ready. Thank you so much for your reporting from Beijing Aerospace Control Center. We appreciate it. Well, the Shenzhou 21 crew have undergone rigorous preparation for their upcoming mission. Well, by this time, they'll be equipped with new training gear to help them excel in orbit. Sun-Ye has more.
Chinese taikonauts are known for training hard, and when the Shenzhou 21 crew start their space station mission, their hardcore training will reach a whole new level.
On Tiangong 9, we sent up a device called the Core Muscle Training Equipment. It can be used for planks, weightlifting resistance training, sit-ups, and crunches, all of which are specialized exercises for core muscle training. After the device was successfully deployed and tested, it will continue to be used going forward, which will enhance our ability to counteract the physiological effects of weightlessness during long-term flights.
The Shenzhou 21 crew will also be wearing new spacesuits for their spacewalks, for which they also have updated assistance.
To ensure the taikonauts are prepared for extravehicular activities in orbit and to improve their work efficiency, we sent up a mixed reality training device. It can be used to train for some very complex operational tasks while in orbit. With this device, once they put on the headset, they can vividly see the operational scenarios, workflows, precautions, and so on. This way, the training effectiveness and learning efficiency have improved significantly.
The Shenzhou 21 crew will also have a new AI companion. The model, named Wukong after the clever and versatile Monkey King, can engage with the taikonauts on all things related to the space station and life in orbit. Sun-Ye, CGTN, Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center.
And now we are joined in the studio by Professor Yang Jiuquan, the chair of the Space Transportation Committee of the International Astronautical Federation. Thank you so much for joining us again, Professor Yang. So at the launch was near, the final preparations are going on. Tell us, what will be the final preparations for the liftoff?
Well, that's very important. You can see on this screen, we can see the launch pad and together with our Long March 2F Y-21 launch vehicle. And you may notice that on this moment, there's still some arms in brown color connected to our launch vehicle. So these rotational arms still have the cable connections and also some pipes connected to our launch vehicle. Only at the last moment, it can be untouched and rotated to free the vehicle itself. So at this moment, we still have the ground support and also have the electricity and also signals to support our test and examining procedure. So this is still very critical for our the whole system to ensure that every system is okay. And moreover, you may hear the voice of the commander of the launch site and to confirm the status of every ground tracking station is okay. So this is a video camera mounted in the re-entry capsule. You can see that Commander Mr. Zhang Lu is sitting in the middle. And the one closer to us is Mr. Zhang Hongzhang, and the one far from us is Mr. Mr. Wu Fei. So all of them have their own roles. So it's very important for them. You notice that they will read their manuals usually very carefully and to ensure that every system goes okay.
So we can see from the pictures inside the capsule that the 3 taikonauts were safely inside the capsule. They're making their final preparations for the launch. And also the tower crews are evacuating the taking off area. So tell us, what is the safe evacuation distance?
Usually, this is a very important step for the launch system. You know that the flames and the high temperature emitted from the tail of the launch vehicle will be dangerous for the ground staff. So we need to have a very strict procedure to check if everyone from the team of the ground staff has already left the launch pad correctly. So this is very important. Usually, it happens in the T-minus 15 minutes and counting at this moment. So at this moment, because it's less than 5 minutes from the launch, so all the ground staff has already left the launch pad very safely. So at this moment, only the 3 taikonauts are in the capsule of the launch vehicle.
And now we can see we're less than 3 minutes away from the launch. And this time, China is performing a zero-window launch for the Shenzhou 21 spaceship. So what exactly is zero-window launch? And why is this method being used this time?
The zero launch window means that the accuracy of the lift-off moment is better than 1 second. So this is to ensure that the launch vehicle brings the Shenzhou spaceship into the right orbital plane. To catch up with our Tiangong space station, they must be in the same orbital plane. So usually every day we only have 1 chance to launch our Shenzhou spacecraft. So this is a very necessary condition, very necessary requirement to our launch vehicle, and only it is accurate enough. We have the sufficient propellant for the Shenzhou spaceship to catch up with our Tiangong space station.
And we can see the Long March carrier rocket now standing there, ready to be lifted off.
Yes, I believe that at this moment we maybe already stopped providing the ventilation air from the ground system. You know that we in the payload fairing, you know that it forms a closed volume for the Shenzhou spaceship. Usually it's in a very comfortable temperature, although it's already very cold in Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. But still, we have ventilation air from the pipes of the arms I mentioned previously. But at this moment, maybe it's already stopped. So because only 2 minutes left, only 1 minute left, and it will. I believe that the arm will detach very soon.
So we're waiting for the Long March carrier rocket being
and
lifted
you may
off.
also notice that there are many packages between the astronauts. These are the necessary equipments and goods for the case that if there is an emergency landing, so this will help the astronaut to survive in wild field. So it's T-minus 1 minute and counting. So I believe that the electricity had been switched from the ground, from the launch pad to the batteries inside the launch vehicle.
Even the zero window launch will be precisely limited to within 1 second.
Exactly.
40 seconds countdown.
Oh, the Shenzhou 20 crew is watching the live coverage.
They're waiting.
3、2、1，点火。
起飞，T0，2:30，14分46秒，441毫秒，T0，2:30，14分46秒，441毫秒。酒泉程序转弯，程序转弯。
青山 USB 雷达跟踪正常，遥测信号正常。
酒泉光学跟踪正常。
双城光学雷达跟踪正常。
东风光学 USB 雷达跟踪正常，遥测信号正常，东风飞行正常。
To change its direction to vertically, from vertical direction to eastward.
We are hearing the orders
Yes,
saying
the
that
tracking
everything
is normal.
functioning well.
Yeah. And the next critical step will be jettisoning of the emergency escape tower. Usually, it happens at about 2 minutes after liftoff.
We can hear the orders saying that everything is normal.
Yes. You can see the beautiful flames of the 8 engines, 4 mounted in the core stage and 4 other engines mounted on each of the 4 boosters.
And now we can see the Long March carrier rocket has been successfully lifted off with the Shenzhou 21 spacecraft.
Exactly. At liftoff, each of the engine can provide a thrust about 75 tons. So the 8 engines provide a thrust more than 600 tons. That's a very big thrust. And with the attitude goes on, the thrust will be bigger.
Wow, the Shenzhou 20 crew is watching closely.
Yeah. So at
waiting
this
for their
moment, they will
peers.
experience very intensive vibration and also G-forces. Usually the peak of the G-forces can reach to 3.6 times than your own mass. So they must be trained. Okay.
So we can see the escape tower
has escaped. Has just
escaped.
Great. So the next step will be
from the craft.
Separation of the 4 boosters. It will happen soon. We can see the infrared image video on this screen. This is a video camera mounted on the launch vehicle, looking backwards.
And now we're waiting for the boosters.
Oh, great. You can see the boosters separated.
Separated
The 4
cleanly.
point. It forms a cross. And the first stage also separated.
First stage is separated.
Yep. Now you can see the brightest spot is the second stage. On the second stage, we have 1 main engine and 4 vernier engines. The 4 vernier engine can change its direction to control the attitude of the launch vehicle. This is a video camera mounted at the rear part of the second stage.
The 3 taikonaut seems to be really calm and confident.
Yeah. Mr. Wu Fei is still reading the manual. So they are very calm.
Mr. Wu Fei sits on Zhang Lu's right.
On the right side. Oh, the payload fairing is separated.
The firing has also separated.
So the second stage will work much longer than the first stage. And our next critical step will be MECO, or the main engine cutoff. But the 4 vernier engines will work longer, because you know that the vernier engine, the thrust is very small, but it can change its direction, so it can adjust the trajectory very precisely to ensure that the final orbit of the Shenzhou spacecraft is very accurate.
You mean the rocket is still carrying out a gravity turn, adjusting its direction?
Yeah.
Now.
And you may notice that all the three crew members are reading their manuals. On this manual, it not only has the instruction of the normal procedure, but also has the instruction of every abnormal procedure. So the master phase is...
What can you read under such a vibration and high pressure?
They can still read it.
They can still read it.
Yeah. You can see they change their pages to the next phase. So in every phase, there are multiple instructions. We can see the very beautiful shock wave in arc form, very beautiful sight.
And then flying towards their peers who
because
are waiting for them.
We launched the rocket at night. It is very interesting. In Beijing, you can see a very bright spot moving very fast. That is the launch vehicle itself.
A lot of space enthusiasts would like to catch that.
Exactly.
Every time.
So the Shenzhou 20 crew, I believe they, after this launch, they will prepare the breakfast for our Shenzhou 21.
I believe so.
And before this launch, the Shenzhou 20 crew were also trained many times for manual docking. Because in emergency case, they can also have a remote control mode to control the Shenzhou spaceship to dock with the space station normally.
Oh, it's a cooperation between two teams of crew members.
So this technology, we mastered this technology during the Shenzhou 13 mission. The Shenzhou 13 crew have conducted the first this kind of technological verification. So you can still see that the rocket engines work very... We can hear the voice that the flight itself is normal and the tracking station is also in a normal status. You may notice that the main engine and the two of the vernier engines is moving slightly. It's adjusting its direction, and with this measure to change the attitude of the flying object itself.
You mean the trajectory?
Yes, exactly. They are experiencing the G forces now. With the exhausting of the propellant, the G forces will be bigger and bigger. So at the main engine cutoff, it will reach the peak. But they were well trained on the ground. You know, in the normal flying procedure, it only reaches to about 3.6 times of your own mass. But in emergency equipment, it reaches to 8 times than your own mass.
What is maximum undertaking of a human body?
Yeah, exactly. So in an emergency escape, it will reach up to more than 8.
So the takonauts must undergo all kinds of training before they...
Yes. Okay, the main engine cut off. They were already in orbit, but still need the vernier engines to adjust the trajectory very precisely. So this is a moment of what it
And we're waiting for the key moment of the separations.
Yes. So after the shut-off of the 4 vernier engines of the second stage, we were conducting, as you mentioned, the separation between the Shenzhou spaceship and our second stage.
And now they're reading all the instructions again.
东风 USB 雷达跟踪正常，遥测信号正常，东风飞行正常。明白。
Shenzhou, their colleagues, the Shenzhou 20 crew, is watching the live coverage.
They seem to be more relaxed, definitely. And
obviously.
they're waiting for their peers to arrive.
With the help of our Tianlian data relay satellite, we can have the video uploaded to our Tiangong space station. So every time they can watch the live coverage of the launch. And during the Shenzhou, during the Shenzhou 60 mission, Mr. Jing Haipeng, the commander, can even respond to the anchors of CMG.
Oh, really?
Exactly.
You mean during the launch time?
Yes, because that they can watch the live coverage and the anchor say hello to our commander, and he can respond to the camera.
Wow.
长江6号发现目标。
We can hear the space tracking ship. 长江6号 means our 远望6 tracking space tracking ship in the Pacific Ocean. So it's now located in the Pacific Ocean to track the data.
团建分离。
Separated.
Oh, we're waiting for the key
团建分
moments.
离。
Now the Long March 2F launch vehicle has accomplished its task.
Yes.
《神舟21号报告，仪表显示全件分离完毕。
北京明白。
预备舰准备复位，正确。
天路发现目标。
天路发现目标。
这个时候保持安静啊，不要走近他们。
长江6号双补完成。
各号注意，飞船轨道注入数据，会前流程已启动。长城，
长城明白。
翻板展开准备，翻板展开准备，翻板展开准备。
重量翻板展开预备舰，明白。好的。 40秒，明白。30秒，明白。20秒，明白。 10秒，明白。5、4、3、2、1。
华山出尔根数及分链参数发出，景山，景山收到。东风，
东风收到。
翻板展开，翻板展开。
长城报告，太阳翻板
神舟21号报告，
长江6号跟踪正常，
展开，手控指令已发出，仪表显示翻板展开，完毕。
北京明白。太阳翻板展开正常。
明白。好的。
长城报告，加计正常。
加计正常。
天路跟踪正常，遥测信号正常。
天路长江6号跟踪正常，遥测信号正常。
长城报告，翻板驱动正常。
中继天线展开正常。